Well, good morning. Yes, it's going to be another early morning talk. I like these because it's quiet. Uh, there's before all the hustle and bustle starts. Anyway, today I'd like to tell you about something I see coming down the pike, and you do too. I call it Slavery 3.0. Now, it's not an app, but I name it that way, Slavery 3.0, because it's kind of a numbering thing that people really understand from having apps on their phone. And it's, things start off and then you make incremental little improvements to the app. But when you make a big change, you change the numbering system. 1.0, 2.0, 3. So you get it. Oh, before we start, if you could just put some comments or like the video, whatever it takes. I'm not trying to monetize the channel. I really don't give a shit about monetizing the channel. What I do want is, since I get up early in the morning and tell you this stuff, if you think it's something someone should hear, come on, man, let's move it along. Like I said, I don't care about monetizing. I don't think they give you enough money for this shit anyway, so who cares? But anyway, back to Slavery 3.0. Okay, we need a little historical reference here. So let's start with Slavery Classic. Now, Slavery Classic, that's the first slavery model, shall we say, in the United States. And it was, with their technology, that was the way they had to go. They would go pick these people up from another country, bring them into the United States. But it was a very messy kind of slavery. It didn't stop anybody, and they like. But in today's terms, it was pretty messy. You had to steal these people, bring them to your country, the United States. You had to feed them and house them and clothe them, and they weren't really too hip on being, slaves. So they were always trying to escape. You had to chain them up. You had to beat them. Oh, you had to treat them really in ways that were brutal. Anyway, and at the same time, you had Slavery 2.0 transitioning into the main form of slavery, and it's pretty old. They both kind of lived alongside each other, or existed alongside each other. Slavery 2.0 was in the North, and it was called wage slavery, as far as I'm concerned, number 2.0. And it was where you would get paid. They didn't have to control you now, like as brutally as they did down in the South, where Classic was going on. What they did was they tied you to money, and with money, that was a pretty tough chain. It was harder to break than steel chains because it was in your mind, and real, of course. But you didn't feel you were a slave, so there was nothing to break free from. You did your labor. They gave you money, and with that money, you were able to purchase your own clothing, housing, food, etc. There was still the wild cards out there who were building things and on their own out in the prairie and stuff. They were transitioning now to 2.0, and so they didn't like the brutalness of 1.0, so the North eliminated the South's ability to continue with Classic. Now, you remember there was the Civil War and big mess. 500,000 people died. Bad news. Anyway, but then we shifted into Slavery 2.0. And just like the apps, they improve it as they go along. So it got improved and improved and improved. Pretty soon, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot. There was also one big benefit to 2.0. The slaves didn't have to be of a different color. You could have white slaves, because nobody knew they were slaves, except the people who were enslaving them. And they thought, we are free, we will work and they will give us money, not realizing that the slavery of the brain is sometimes worse than the slavery of chains. Anyway, so now we come up to today, and we are about to transition into slavery 3.0. Now, what is 3.0? 3.0 is the digital slaves, robots, AI, things like that are going to take over doing the work that the biological slaves used to do. Now, that sounds wonderful. And what we've been promised is these new slaves, oh my goodness, these new slaves will make the world wonderful for us. None of us will have to work. It'll just be us and the digital slaves doing everything while we live a life of, whatever we want, complete bliss. Believe that? Do you? Yeah. The problem I see is that the slave owners are not going to want to pay the biological slaves for doing nothing. As a matter of fact, the whole reason to bring in the digital slaves is to make things less expensive so that the slave owners can make more money. So I really don't see them giving you free cash and a free livelihood. So what are they going to do? Well, I have no idea. I am not, a seer, so to speak. But it just makes sense to me that they would want to just eliminate as many of these ex-human slaves as they could. So they're going to make it tough on you. Food getting more expensive, everything is going up higher, you can't afford homes, you can't afford food, clothes, things like that. That will, can't afford children, that'll cull the herd. That'll cull the herd fast. So they're still going to need humans to do some things, but it'll be different. It'll be way different. And they certainly don't need the ones that aren't too intelligent. It's just the way it is. My suggestion is you might want to do what some of the people were doing during 2.0, which is to take care of yourself, get your own land, whatever you want to do. Or you can leave the country, the plantation of America, but I get the feeling that it's going to be everywhere eventually, just like everything. People, the slave owners in other countries are going to see what America is doing and go, yeah, that's what we want. We want to be able to have these digital slaves ourselves. So, good luck, everybody. But remember, you heard it here first. And don't forget to give me some likes and stuff, because I just want to get this out to as many people as I can.